Very important to have someone to come to your place or to meet somewhere and just to have some friendship and some normal conversations, very important.
Be compassionate and respectful and treat the person like you would anybody else.
Well, the philosophy of the society and the spirituality of the society is to help people where they're at. And it's not about running away just because we've got thrown a curved ball.
Not be fearful, you know, because that's something that's going to make them feel worse straight away. So yeah, don't be fearful around different behaviour. So, because there's probably a good reason for that different behaviour.
We're used to advising people, just get yourself together, pull your socks up. And that's the worst thing you can tell a depressive, because they can't pull their socks up, so that makes them feel more helpless still.
So, as a Vincentian visitor, if you think they've got some form of mental illness, don't be frightened to ask them, are you on medication? Are you taking medication for anything? 9 times out of 10 they'll tell you that yes, I have depression, or yes, I'm suffering from anxiety, or I've got bipolar or something of that nature.
You know, asking them about mental health issues like you would about physical health issues, you know, and don't sort of make a huge differentiation between the two.
And showing that we're respectful in the very first instance is the right way to start an interview. It's absolutely essential.
To treat the person with respect. If it's obvious the person is unwell, not to yell at them, not to criticise them.
If I opened a flat door and I found a guy really agitated, talking to himself, probably seemingly, when I hear people doing that, I think they're probably hearing voices. My response would be to just respond calmly to him. You know, say, hello, Joe, you don't seem the best today. You seem a bit worried about something. And it could be, if he genuinely is unwell, he may not be very clear in what he wants to say to me. I'd just continue speaking calmly to him, and I'd say, Joe, listen, I think you don't seem real well to me today. You seem a bit upset about things. And often, if you do it that way, they'll agree with you that they're not feeling well. And Joe, you know, I'd like to contact your caseworker. Would you be okay about that? I think your caseworker would be concerned to realise that you just aren't feeling the best today, and you might be able to use some help that he could give you. So when I leave here, Joe, I might just call your caseworker and ask him to look in on you. Is that okay with you?
You also have to recognise that their privacy is also to be respected.
I hear many stories about your organisation where people will say to me, look, my visitor was my only friend. That person helped me through a difficult time. I was really quite suicidal, but this person kept me. And how did it work? Well, I didn't see them as my friend. I just felt they were on my wavelength, that they were prepared to spend time with me. Just even buying me a cup of coffee was an indicator that they were prepared to do something practical. So this level is very important, but it's not enough in and of itself. I think there are stages that follow. Many of these people are without structure, so maybe then giving them some guidance about how to get some structure across the day.
It's good for people to have a management plan, and you know, the person that you're seeing may have one of those, and you know, that might be who to contact in terms of friends and family if they aren't doing too well, if they're not travelling too well that day.
A lot of those people have had bad experiences with health professionals. That doesn't mean you should give up. They should then be encouraged to think about going back and seeing another health professional.
So I swapped to a psychiatrist who believed me and supported me in my story, and that made a really big difference for me.
And I think what also can be very important is that engagement process. When you're meeting a person with a mental illness for the first time and you're going to be seeing them on a regular basis, if you can build up a rapport with that person over a period of time, there's a good chance that person with a mental illness will trust you. And once you've gained their trust, you've got the basis for a relationship or a friendship.
Yeah, trying to be positive and giving hope.
So some of the strategies for engaging the person might be, to share a hobby with the person.
It's not about turning around and walking away just because it's something new for us. It's about getting in there and helping people where they're at and providing whatever support we can.
You know, there's some things that people with mental illness do find difficult. For example, some people find it very hard to watch the news and knowing what's going on because it's so distressing to them, because they might be feeling depressed and isolated, and they really feel what's happening on the news and it really affects them. So there's some things that may not be good to talk about, such as politics.
Consistency is really important, and being motivating is really important as well.
Making encouraging statements can be a bit of a double-edged sword. So some people might want to say, oh, she's trying to make me feel good. But I think that the key thing in terms of improvement is that for the Vincentian themselves, they get the sense of satisfaction that the things that I'm doing are actually working, and I can see an improvement in that place. And I think, because if you're volunteers, you're good people anyway, and good people get their thanks, their pay, from feeling good inside themselves. They've actually helped another human being.
People with acute psychotic conditions can at times be very dangerous, and therefore forewarned is forearmed.
You cannot, under any circumstances, put a question direct to a person that is antagonistic.
The way in which we professionally handle it is we always work out where we're going to interview somebody or where we're going to be with them. If we're in a dangerous situation, we allow a lot of distance between ourselves and the other person. We sit closer to the door than the other person, so if anything happens, we can run. We don't have the doors locked, and we try to keep the door open. If there are any other concerns, we would always have a second or a third person present. And you would maintain authority, but you would not want to override or crowd or pressure the person. And given those rules, then most of the time you can control and prevent the high-risk situations.
If a person was angry and hostile and wasn't settling down, despite whatever you sort of tried to do to make things better, you know, offering to do the cup of tea, the smoke, then you would be sort of moving outside, making a call, same thing.
In all the years I've been looking after, like doing visitations, I've really never had an episode where I've been worried. Usually once you tell them you're from St Vincent de Paul, they respect that, and they usually stay calm.
We're really here to help you, and we really want to help you. You know, we're volunteers, we're not paid people, we're volunteers.
At times, particularly when people are acutely psychotic, it may be quite inappropriate for a whole range of reasons, not only your own safety, but particularly because you're unlikely to be seen as particularly helpful. And at those times, it would be quite inappropriate to approach that person.
And if you had someone who's really off his face, aggressive, threatening, obviously you call the police.
And even in those difficult situations, how to proceed. One example, for instance, is the space that one leaves between you and the other person. Most human beings prefer about 1 metre if they're in a close relationship. But if you're with an acutely psychotic person, you'd probably allow a minimum of 2 or 3 metres. So there are a whole range of very simple strategies where you don't crowd the person, where you don't talk over them, where you don't cut them off, where you maintain eye contact, where you maintain your natural sense of authority, but you're not authoritarian. And these nuances, which can be natural to some people, still need to be sharpened up, I think, in dealing with psychotic people. So I would argue very much for some professional training.
The more we all know about mental illness and about people with mental illness, the easier it is to communicate and to interact with people with mental illness.